Hi, this is Tony Valentine, and I wonder if you've ever asked yourself the question, how do rich people get rich? I mean, I have obviously asked myself that question a lot of times. And I was watching a video on YouTube the other day, and it was by one of the guys that I really enjoy following, and that's Bob Proctor. And some of you may know who Bob Proctor is. He's a very successful author, motivational speaker, and success coach. And his topic is always on the law of attraction. And he was also featured in the famous movie The Secret. Anyways, he was explaining that in his early days he had been failing horribly financially in his life, and he was given this little book called The Science of Getting Rich. This little book here, which was written in the early 1900s. And anyways, long story short, he was told that he should read the book. He read it. It made such a profound impact on his life that he kept reading it every day and applying the principles. And one of the things out of the book is that it says you've got to do things in a certain way. And he just kept reading the book, doing things, reading the book. And before long, he started making lots of money and becoming more and more successful the more he applied the principles of the book. So he suggested at the end of the video that the listeners or the viewers should actually get the book. So I remembered that I had this little book, read it years ago, forgot about it. I went and scratched it out of my bookshelf, dusted it off, and started reading it again, but this time obviously with different eyes. And I want to just share a little extract with you from page 23, in fact. Just bear with me here. I've said, there's obviously in the book, by the way, the book's written by Wallace D. Wattles. I've said in the book, men get rich by doing things in a certain way. And in order to do so, men must become able to think in a certain way. A man's way of doing things is the direct result of the way he thinks about things. To do things in a certain way, in a certain way that you want to do them, you will have to acquire the ability to think the way you want to think. And this is the first step towards getting rich. To think what you want to think is truth, is to think truth, regardless of appearances. Every man has natural and inherent power to think what he wants to think, but it requires far more effort to do so than to think the thoughts which are suggested by the appearances. In other words, what's going on around you at the time. To think according to appearance is easy. Do you agree with that? I do. To think truth, in other words, what you want to think, regardless of the appearances, is laborious, hard work, and requires the expenditure of more power than any other work man or woman is called upon to perform. Wow. So, I don't know if you can relate to this. If you are one of those people that reads the good book, there's a definition there of faith, and it says faith is the confidence of things hoped for and the evidence of the things unseen, the evidence or the proof of the things that are yet unseen. In other words, the confidence of the things hoped for, what you hope for, and the evidence or the proof of the things that you haven't yet seen, but you obviously seeing them in your mind. And I took three things out of this little extract over here. The first thing is that we must, if we want to get rich, choose our thoughts. And when you choose your own thoughts, this is truth. So I found this extremely empowering, that you can choose your own thoughts and regard this to be truth. The second thing is we must ignore the appearances. In other words, what is actually going on around us at the time. I don't know, poverty, disease, disasters. It doesn't really matter. Whatever's going on around you, you choose truth, which is your own thoughts. And the third thing is that you and I can change our lives by choosing our own thoughts, by choosing to hold a picture and the image of what you want in your life. You and I can actually conquer fate. And so I'm just going to finish off the last bit of that little chapter there by just expounding that a little bit more. So he says, to look upon the appearance of poverty will produce corresponding forms in your mind, your own mind, unless you hold to the truth that there is no poverty, there is only abundance. To think health when surrounded by the appearances of disease, or to think riches when in the midst of appearances of poverty, requires power. But he who acquires this power becomes a mastermind. He or she can conquer fate. He or she can have what he or she wants. Wow, that is truly amazing. So what I suggest, I'm going to just, pay it forward. I'm going to say to you, go out there, buy this little book if you can find it. It's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, written in the early 1900s, and read the book yourself. If you've got value out of what I've said and shared with you today, please obviously give me some love emojis. Also, share the message. That's the main thing. If this message was valuable, if it had an impact on you, share it with a friend, share it with somebody else, somebody in your family, whatever the case is. And of course, I'd love to have a comment if you have a comment to make. Remember that I'm not giving anybody financial advice here. I'm just sharing something that impacted me out of this book. It's actually a book review. And of course, I'd love to see you in my next video. Have an awesome day.